So I really hope that I can do justice to our patient experience team. I'm not the head of patient experience. Helen Collins has left our trust and had left this with me as her parting gift to make sure that we put our point forward, because Helen and the patient experience team have been on a really transformational year. And certainly from a complaints perspective, they have transformed the way our trust responds to those that have concerns and complaints, but also they really do epitomise the pride, patients first, the pride in our team, and personal responsibility, which is our, as you can see at the bottom, passion for excellence. So really, who are they? Well, that's not all of them there, and I'd just like to point out Helen, who is the lead for the team, and she's the second one on the right as you're looking straight on. She's an inspirational leader. She had pulled together these girls to really focus on what matters for the patient in their service. So there's 11 of them all together. They're not all there. A range of Helen looks after Complaints Pals volunteers, the bereavement team, and looks after the engagements for the trust. And we're all based at Junction 11 at the M25. In St Peter's Hospital in Chertsey. In terms of what do we deal with, well, as you can see, I don't know how they match with others, but it seems like plenty to keep us all very busy. We've got around 500 complaints a year, 1,300 PALS inquiries, 1,300 deaths. We've recently brought our volunteer cohort up to 350 volunteers for a young district general hospital, which is fantastic. And we receive feedback from lots and lots of people, very many people, potentially. So why are they so special? It's really interesting. As Helen moved on, I've very recently got to know this team, and all of those bubbles there epitomise each one of them in one way or another, and how they deal with our complainants, how they're able to empathise and sympathise with them, and they're actually really very resilient and bounce back when dealing with very difficult situations and traumatic situations. So yeah, that I mean, I could go on and on and on, but because they all have their strengths, their different strengths, they gel beautifully and help each other out in dealing with our complaints. So where have we been? Well, this team, along with Helen and her leadership, I have to say, have moved us from a place where we were not really responding, or we weren't very responsive to our patients, and 61% of a 25-day target for responding to a complaint isn't what we would consider responsive. And as the team have grown together, you will see that, I mean, the graphs speak for themselves in terms of the compliance and the response to complaints in a timely way. So we're above the 95% standard now, and actually we're sustaining that going forward. That data is February, but we're over 100% for August. So and it has been a journey. The next slide. So not only, and you might ask yourself, why is it that we did so well? Were the quality of our complaints and our responses appropriate? Did we really get to the nub of what the issues were with in terms of patient experience? And as you can see, the proportion of number of reopened complaints reflects that there was a downward trend from the time that the team building started, and Helen and her team got going on transforming the trust approach to complaints, PALS and concerns. Next. A tiny little graph there, but similarly reflected in our PHSO activity. I think that probably speaks for itself. Those numbers went down, and that's a reflection on the effort that was put in but by the team to understand and listen to the patients carefully. Next. So, I feel as though I'm repeating myself, because of course the good work that they undertook in complaints was also undertaken in the PALS team, and the number of PALS in terms of responding to patient concerns whilst they were on the wards and in real time, the focus was very much on being visible and being able to go to the wards and deal with patient and take patient concerns seriously and escalate so that they were dealt with while the patients were in the hospital. The next. And again, a reflection of the responsiveness where PALS did contact the PALS team, where patients did contact the PALS team, they were extremely responsive and were able to solve their concerns and inquiries extremely quickly. And that was through building very strong relationships with the clinical teams, both from consultant to ward level and across the managerial spectrum throughout the trust. What Helen was able to do was make the links with everybody and grow the networks and understanding between the centralised complaints team, because again, one of the changes that happened was that they were originally a devolved complaints team where each division had their own complaints officer, and you had different responses going out, you had different approaches, different tone to the complaints and responses. So this team became centralised, and that has certainly fueled what's happened in this organisation. A centralisation of the talent actually that's required to answer our patients' concerns and deal with our patient concern with compassion and effectiveness. So next. Okay, the other part of it is I'd just like to talk to you about the volunteer part of the team. So we had very few volunteers, and the aim was to find a wide range of ages for the volunteer sector. So we employed a volunteers manager, and we went out to the local universities and recruited our numbers up to, I think they were in the 50s to start with, but we got up to, we recruited over 300 volunteers by setting up stands and turning up to the community meetings that they were having in the university campuses, and when the new students started on campus, we got involved in that way. Mostly Royal Holloway, which is just up the road from us, and so given that the students are around and available, it was nice to have some work without being rude, but some younger faces in the volunteer team, and that has changed the dynamic there completely. Again, the turnaround, obviously we're all focused very much on learning from deaths and the medical examiner's officer approach to caring for patients and their families, not when they're bereaved. And in terms of our bereavement pathway, it was taking an awful long time to get out our death certificates, and they're really important for families so they can move forward with making any arrangements that they needed. So again, Helen built up very strong relationships with our coroners, with our morticians, and all of the team that had some sort of impact on enabling us to release the death certificate and help the families move on. Again, that team was centralised, and that worked really well for us. Next. Again, why are they special? Well, they have got fantastic resilience, but very much there was a lot of investment put into the team and planned with the team to ensure that they had that resilience, and that we offered mediation training, in fact offered mediation training across the trust to enable them to support the communication with our complainants, and also we sent them on some various study days around managing PHSO complaints. One of the things that the team came up themselves with was because what we wanted was for the ward-based staff to be able to nip the complaint in the bud, or nip concerns in the bud, and to deal with families' concerns when they were raised effectively. And we're in the process, just before COVID, we were just in the process of pulling together some healthcare plays on complaint handling. We linked up with a local dramatics society, a link with Brian Daniels, and he's in the process of making those plays come to life for us so that we can put them on for the staff at the front end. And also we also sent we sent one person on training for sign language, but then of course COVID has stopped our progress with that. Yes, unfortunately, I can give you testimony to our how fabulous the team is. Unfortunately, Helen wasn't able to give me the testimonies that she had before she left the organisation, but I am amazed at this team and what Helen, as our patient experience leads, have done to support them and to bring us to where we are now as an organisation. We also have a complaints writer, by the way, which is extremely helpful. Okay, so that's the team, and that's not everybody. There's a few more, but they're their names for you.